The rain had started without warning. Thick, relentless sheets of water lashed against the windshield as Sarah Collins tightened her grip on the steering wheel. She'd been driving back from her sister's house in the neighboring town, a short visit that had extended far longer than she intended. It was already past 11 p.m. when she left, and the storm had turned the lonely backroad into a nightmarish stretch of pitch-black nothingness. Her phone had no signal. The radio only emitted static, and her GPS had frozen miles ago. Every tree she passed seemed more gnarled than the last, twisted limbs silhouetted by the occasional flash of lightning. As her headlights barely pierced the veil of water pouring from the heavens, she realized she didn't recognize anything anymore. Sarah tried not to panic, but her heart was already starting to race. She had driven this road countless times, but tonight it felt alien, as though something had shifted in the familiar terrain, making it something else entirely. It wasn't just the rain, she was sure of it. Something about tonight was wrong. The road narrowed unexpectedly, and then her headlights caught something ahead. Figure. Standing completely still in the rain, soaked to the bone in the middle of the road. Sarah slammed on the brakes, her tires skidding slightly before coming to a halt just feet away from him. The man didn't move. He was tall, in his 40s maybe, wearing a drenched coat and slacks. No umbrella, no visible distress, just standing. She rolled the window down halfway, the rain immediately blowing in. "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help?" No answer. The man slowly tilted his head, as if confused. Then he turned away and began walking toward the trees lining the road. Not toward a house. Not to safety. Just deeper into the woods. Sarah sat frozen for a moment, unsure of what she had just seen. Logic screamed that she should keep driving. But something, curiosity or a misplaced sense of concern, compelled her to get out. She grabbed her flashlight from the glove compartment, shoved her hood over her head, and stepped out into the deluge. "Sir." "Hello. Are you all right?" she called out, walking toward where he had disappeared. The beam of her flashlight barely cut through the downpour, but she saw footprints in the muddy grass. She followed them, carefully maneuvering between puddles and branches. The further she walked, the more the noise of the storm seemed to dampen, not just muffled but hushed, as if the woods themselves were holding their breath. Suddenly, the beam of her flashlight illuminated something up ahead. Not the man, but a small, dilapidated house she'd never seen before. Covered in ivy and barely standing, it looked centuries old. Sarah felt every instinct in her body scream to turn back. But the footprints led there. She approached slowly. The front door was open, hanging by one rusted hinge. "Hello," she called out again, her voice trembling now. She stepped inside. The smell of mildew and decay hit her immediately. The air was thick, suffocating. Her flashlight flickered. Just once, but enough to send a chill down her spine. The house was deathly silent, save for the occasional drip of water from holes in the roof. The living room was empty, save for a broken rocking chair and torn curtains that fluttered without wind. No sign of the man. Just footprints leading further in. Sarah swallowed hard and pressed on. The hallway was narrow and dark, the wood beneath her feet creaking ominously. At the end of the hall, she found a door ajar. Slowly she pushed it open. Inside was a bedroom frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture, a canopy bed, and photos on the wall that had long since faded. On the bed sat a woman, pale, thin, her eyes distant and unfocused. She didn't react to Sarah's entrance. "I'm sorry," Sarah said softly. "I saw someone come in here. A man." The woman turned her head slowly, her voice like sandpaper. "He came back. After all these years." Sarah blinked. "You know him?" The woman nodded, eyes never leaving Sarah's. "He died in this house. In that chair." She pointed to the broken rocking chair in the living room. "What?" Sarah whispered, backing away slightly. "It was a stormy night like this. He went to help a stranded driver. Never returned. They found his body in the woods days later. His soul has never rested. Sometimes during storms he returns. looking for someone, anyone, to bring him peace. Sarah's flashlight flickered again, and then went out completely. In the darkness, she heard a whisper. Not from the woman, but behind her. "You saw me." Sarah spun around. The man was there. Oh, Bill. But his eyes weren't human. She stumbled backward, crashing into a table and sending its contents flying. She scrambled toward the front door, but it slammed shut on its own. The air grew colder. The shadows stretched unnaturally. And the woman on the bed was no longer sitting. She was floating, levitating inches off the mattress, her eyes rolled back. Sarah screamed. She pounded the door, desperately trying to escape. The man's voice whispered again, this time closer. "You came looking, now you'll stay." The air thickened. Her breath fogged in front of her face. Something grabbed her ankle, cold, clammy fingers wrapping tight. She kicked and screamed, finally tearing herself free and slamming her shoulder against the door until the old hinge gave way. Ran. Barely registering the rain or the branches tearing at her clothes, she didn't stop until she reached her car. She threw herself inside, locked the doors and peeled away. Her heart was in her throat, her breaths ragged. She didn't look back. It took nearly 2 hours of circling muddy roads, crying and screaming at the GPS that refused to work, before she saw familiar lights and signs. When she finally made it home, Sarah didn't speak to anyone for days. She tried telling people. No one believed her. No one knew of any abandoned house on that road. Search parties found nothing. No structure, no woman, no man. But Sarah knew what she saw. And months later, on another stormy night, she received a letter. No return address. Inside was a photo, faded and yellowed. It was the man, standing beside the woman. And behind them, that same broken rocking chair. Beneath the photo, scribbled in old ink, were the words, "Thank you for seeing me." She moved away shortly after. But even now, when the sky darkens and thunder rumbles in the distance, Sarah still shivers. Because she knows that on certain nights, the road changes. The woods remember. And some spirits never let go. Not until they find someone new.